We are 59. We need to kill a couple more things. And we're ready. I'm starting to take like no damage from these guys. I should have resummoned, but it's fine. We're killing them pretty fast anyways. Reading some of the stuff people are saying about CEOs. Yeah, it's being a CEO seems like a lot of appeasing the board. That seems accurate. You know, like you do what needs to be done to make those invisible people happy. What I mean by invisible people is like the person making Last of Us 3 doesn't see what the board wants, you know. They see what their boss says, and their boss says what their boss says, and et cetera, all the way up to the CEO, and he's the one making the big decisions that trickle down. Like the CEO will talk to the board, and the board will say, we need more microtransactions. Our company made this much money last quarter, and we need to make this much money this quarter, and in order to do that, we need some microtransactions. And the CEO tells the guy, you know, each individual person that he needs to tell within each individual section. In this case, with video games, it would be like each individual studio. We need more microtransactions, and then that drops down to the boss of that person. That drops down to the boss of that person. It gets all the way down to some developer, where it basically becomes, we need a skin. We need a gun skin. And it trickles down. So although the CEO didn't make the decision to make a skin, it was, you know, his word that eventually trickled down into that. So in a way, he's responsible for the stupid microtransaction skin, but he's not necessarily the one that made it. Or even, you know, he didn't even make the decision that it would be that. Now you could say, because he doesn't necessarily make the bad decisions, he says what needs to be said, and then the boss of the boss of the boss of the boss eventually decides that's how he's going to do it. You could say that you shouldn't really blame the CEO for those decisions. And you could say that, but then you could also say he gets paid 1,000 times more than any of the other people in that list. So he deserves to be responsible. If you make that much, then you deserve to have it called your fault. I kind of agree with that. I think you shoulder the responsibility when you take that much of the company's income, right? Even if it wasn't your fault, you shoulder the responsibility. That's really true of any job, I would say. You're at the top of the ladder, you have all the responsibility. Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool, Snipes. That's cool to see. I had the exact opposite. Maybe that's why I have a weird view of CEOs, because the CEO of the company I worked for, one of the companies I worked for, the one that I worked for the longest, was basically like on the runaway and lived in the Bahamas. It was like from the runaway from the law while he owned our company. We would get police officers coming in and asking us about him, and we had to lie about him. Like, yeah, he's not in today. He's not in ever. Definitely not today. So that was an interesting experience. Basically, I work for Shinra. Come to think of it, I don't think I ever really had a CEO I liked. I worked at a bowling alley, and the owner of the bowling alley, he was a nice guy, but I like never saw him. I didn't really understand like what he did. But I didn't hate him, like he was a nice guy. The owner of the Dairy Queen I worked at, I hated. Like, I wouldn't really call him a CEO, he was just the manager of that Dairy Queen. I never saw anyone above him. So, is this a special enemy? No. I'm kind of blasted. This guy's mad. By the way... I haven't gotten anything new yet from all these levels. I think someone in the comments said I get something at level 60. Someone said last week I get like a skill that makes sneak attack or trick attack actually work. See, I think, see, McDonald's is different. McDonald's is, what's the word for it? Like, each one is the same, and there's, like, an owner that owns a bunch. Whereas Dairy Queens are privately owned, franchise. So, like, they're franchise, so, like, there's a different owner. So you may or may not see the owner, but, like, Dairy Queens are privately owned, so you just have the owner is the manager, and then that's all you ever really see. Every once in a while, you would get someone from corporate to come visit, but I never was there when anyone from corporate came. So it was just the owner, just the manager that I knew, and I saw him every day. He worked there. He worked there every day. So. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's different, but it is. Dairy Queens have always been privately owned, from what I understand. That's why you can get, like, radically different menus at some Dairy Queens. And that's why all the commercials say in participating stores. Because they can choose which events to participate in, for the most part. I think some of them are mandatory. But yeah, they're all privately owned. Which means, if you have enough money, you can buy a Dairy Queen. Like, just buy one. With McDonald's, you have to, like, work your way up, but with Dairy Queen, you can just buy one if you want. You got the money. You want to be a manager. You just send in the money, say, I want to buy a Dairy Queen. And you go, okay. I mean, I'm sure there's a little more to it than that, but for the most part, you just buy one. Yeah, you just have these corporate rules you have to abide by and stuff, but other than that, it's your Dairy Queen. Can I teleport while healing? Let's find out. Create our own Dairy Queen Whopper. But yeah, I don't think I ever really had like a CEO that I liked. I hated my Dairy Queen manager. To end off that story, after discussing the fact that he wasn't a CEO, I still hated him, so it doesn't even... it's a moot point anyways. I hated him. And yeah, I had a sales job, and I never met... That was like a smaller company, so I wouldn't even call the guy a CEO. It was just like 5 of us. And I worked for another sales company, and I didn't know any... That was one of those ladder things like you were talking about with McDonald's, where like I only knew the guy that told me what to do, and that was it. It was all this big hierarchy, and the whole thing was set up like this. I don't even know what to call it. It was a competition. Everything was a competition. You know, you had to get this many sales, and you got this many sales, you got a bonus, and if you got enough bonuses, you literally like moved up the company. Like it was all a it was like a tournament. Every week was a tournament. The winners would move up. It would talk about how like the owner of the company was the greatest seller of all time, and that's how he became the owner. And I'm like, I'm not so sure about that. I'm not sure that's how it works, but okay. Yeah, that was a weird one. But, you know, working that job gave me a new appreciation for people that, like, when you go to, like, a Best Buy, and they, like, track you down, and they're like, "Sir, buy my crap." I always thought it was so annoying that they did that. And I always thought, like, it was in their own interest to do that. But at least with the place I worked at, you had to do that to survive. That's why I quit a weekend. I think I worked there for 2 weeks. I wasn't all about that life. But you did. You had to do that to survive. Would you like an extended warranty on your fuel? Yeah, that seems weird. People just go to gas stations with what they want to buy in mind. How are you supposed to, like, sell more stuff? It seems very strange. I see you came in here to get exactly a gallon of milk and gas. May I interest you in some bubblegum? I came here for milk and gas. I've already been here too long. Please ring up my crap. A loyalty program? That's when you hit him with the classic line. You come here often? Hit him with that one. You'll sell them all. You'll sell every loyalty program to one guy. You're like, I'll take your whole stock. We've seen your sales skills. Dude, I got the skills. I mean, I got some sales skills. My degree is in communication, and I worked 2 different sales jobs. But, you know, I always had a hard time being pushy, so I think a lot of people do. But if I'm selling something that, you know, people actually want, I got some skills. I mean, a couple of you guys bought my mug, which is literally just a frog on a mug. So, I mean, basically, I'm the CEO of my own scam company. It's like selling mugs with frogs on them. Got them. Sales ability up 99. Sold frog mug. Rigged giveaways. Frog mugs. What's next? I almost made a snake boat mouse pad. I couldn't do it. It was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And I knew people would buy it too. I couldn't do that. Couldn't do it to you guys. I'm like, people are actually gonna buy this for the meme, and it is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I can't do it. It was so bad. It was so bad. You're telling me you wouldn't have bought it. You would have bought it. If I told you there was a snake boat mouse pad for sale, you would have bought it. Don't even act like you wouldn't. Not you, Mushroom. Mushroom said he feels attacked. He would have. Okay, let's get this one thing straight here. I know my target audience, okay? Like I said, I'm a good salesman. You would have bought it. I do want to make a snake boat something, but not the mouse pad. It looks so bad. It's gotta be something that actually looks good. Oh, and I tried snake boat socks. Oh my god, it was the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. Because they're black. For some reason, they only have black socks. They don't have white socks. But then the part that they print is white. So imagine like a black sock up to like your heel. Or, you know, up to like your shin. And then just a big white strip with a snake boat like randomly printed on one side. It was the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Just a JPEG of a snake boat, and then the rest of the sock is a completely different color. Oh my god, it was awful. I should have taken a picture when I made it. I wish they did like band-aids. That'd be perfect. Snake boat band-aid. Something goofy like that. It can't be like a serious piece of attire. I wonder if they do wallets. Snake boat wallet might look alright. Snake boat money clip. Snake boat necktie. No. Got an important interview. Gotta wear my lucky necktie. Attack! Please. Snake boat pancakes. Oh my god, I did 1,231 damage. With that attack. Why do my regular attacks suck so bad? Why do I do 1,200 damage with my ability, but my attack does 30? That seems strange. I'm just sneak attack, that's all I am. Snake boat fruit snacks. That'd be cool. You think? It's all about the abilities. Why do my abilities take so long to come back? It's all about the abilities. I mean, that's been my issue with Thief this whole time. Like, I feel like the other classes, they cycle through abilities. That's like the whole idea. You cycle through abilities, and then your first one is back up by the time you're done with your others. You know what I mean? So once you get to level 50 or so, you actually have enough abilities to cycle through and then have the other one up again. But I'm just sneak attack bot. Nothing else does anything. Trig attack will hopefully do something when I'm 60. But I'm just sneak attack bot. I just sneak attack and then wait for it to come back. And I'm level 60. I'm past, at this point, I'm past the level I'm supposed to be to beat the main game. And I still only have one ability I really use. Like, is that not kind of awful? Like, that's kind of awful. And in order for the only other thing I could do is use my my magic, my thief magic, or my ninja magic. But unless I take the time to level up ninja to the point, and use these to the point where they're just as strong as my thief, they do 1 damage. So like, what? I know MMOs are slow, but come on. That can't be... You can't look at that and be like, That's just an MMO thing. I played World of Warcraft for like an hour, and I already had 4 skills to swap through. I already had enough skills to always be pressing buttons in fights. You know? So, like, I don't really understand why I started the game, and I was like, wow, I'm level 10 and I still have no abilities. And everyone was like, shut up, Death, it's an MMO and you're only 10. You'll see when you get stronger. You'll see. Like, I don't see. I was being honest, I don't see. The fact that back in the day it would have taken over a year to get to this point, I don't see it. At least not for Thief. Maybe Thief just blows. I don't know, but I don't see it. Just keep waiting. Like, usually when I brought up this point, people would say that Thief is just DPS. Okay, but why does DPS have to be boring? Like, if I'm DPS, why can't I have multiple abilities? Like, just because I'm DPS, that means I'm not allowed to have abilities? You know? Yeah, I think the Thieves on Azure are way better. Yeah, well, that's dumb. Like, that's legitimately dumb. There's no reason why DPS aggro can't also have a couple abilities to swap through. Also, Steel and Mug are, like, useless. I never get anything, and the stuff I get is just the stuff they drop. And it, you know, you just go sell it. I mean, it's not like, oh boy, I'm excited about this. How's it going, Mopar? It's going great. We are very close to getting 60 and attempting the final boss again. Right, but that's stupid. That's stupid that the class... Like, I could understand opening up when you get to max level, but it can't be 1 ability, maybe 2, all the way until then. Like I said, I've played other MMOs, and I have, like, 9 abilities by the time I'm level 15. You know, just to keep it fun. Like, they're not all great abilities, but there's stuff I can use and be like, oh, look. I have this ability, you know, just something. When is Thief ever good? Locke. Locke was good. If you count Yuffie, Yuffie's good. If you count Riku, she's the strongest character in 10. If you count Zidane as a thief, which you should because he is. He's one of the strongest characters in that game. So, pretty much every modern Final Fantasy up to this point. Like objectively, Locke, Zidane, and Riku are all incredibly powerful thieves. And then Yuffie is there if you say she counts. And then unfortunately, before that, Thief wasn't really a class, so. No, I would be hard-pressed to say Thieves, like, sucked up to this point. But that's not my point. The point I'm trying to make isn't that Thief should be the best class. The point I'm trying to make is Thief is a class in this game. It should be fun. Like, if you're gonna make it a class, it should be fun to play. There's no reason why I shouldn't have at least 3 abilities that do stuff and are fun to use. Otherwise, just delete this class. It shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be able to pick it. I'm just talking game design here. If Thief is the worst class in the game, that's fine. But it should still be fun. Like, it's not fair to just be like, well, you picked Thief, so that's why the game sucks. Like, that's bad game design. It's not my fault I picked a class that is in the game. Yeah, I'm part of her group, her clan. So she talks randomly about stuff I don't care about. Locke is extremely strong, yeah. But again, it's not about picking him over anyone else. I'm just saying he's a good thief. He's a thief and he's a good character. It's not like Thieves were memed as a bad class up to this point. If you count Vaughn as a thief, Thief was literally the main character of 3 of the games. I never even thought about that. The main character of 3 of the most popular Final Fantasy games are Thieves. That says a lot. Six, yeah. I mean, okay, maybe you can argue that Locke isn't the main character, but he's the character you control at this. I mean, I think he's the main character, but he is the co-lead, and he's a thief. So, whatever. But no, it doesn't matter. Even if Thief was bad at this point, up to this point, this should be more fun. There's no reason why every ability should be lame and not fun to use. Mog is on the cover. Mog is an optional character. How is he the main character? It's literally optional. Oh yeah, my XP ring is gone. Why is that? Bro, I read about this online. Locke's the main character. So what? What? Huh. Weird. We only need to kill like 2 more enemies. I found it difficult to keep up with the story. Yeah. No comment. I talked about it, actually the very first thing I talked about today was the story. And how bad it is. I can truly say with confidence now the story in this game is horrendously bad. I have no gripe saying that. If you disagree, that's great. I'm glad you liked it. I think it's awful. For all the writing they did, they could have had a nice, simple, enjoyable story. They chose to do literally nothing. And then just send you out to kill the shadowlord with no build-up, no payoff, nothing. Just, okay, go do it. It's actually a complete joke. Like I said, I played the Messenger on Wednesday. Well, actually, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And that game was able to do more with less dialogue than this game could do with like 10 times its dialogue. Like you could flesh this out for another 10 times the dialogue we've read, and no one would care about any of it still. Messenger, I cared immediately about the story after like 2 lines of dialogue. And it's just better writing. That's just what it comes down to. It's not, oh, it's an MMO, so blah blah blah. No, it's just bad writing. Like, it just had bad writing. It's perfectly possible to make an MMO with a story that is entertaining. They didn't do that. You know, they don't get an excuse because it's an MMO. But it is the story. The rank missions are the story. If not, then there is no story. So it is the story. And the story is bad. Like, it doesn't get an excuse. It's just bad. If there was no story, it would have been better. If there was no story, then I could say, oh, it's an MMO, so it didn't have any story. But it did have a story. I constantly had to read through text. I constantly had to wait for cutscenes to tell me what was going on. I had to run to a place and listen to a guy talk, and run to another place and listen to a guy talk. So there was a story. It sucked, you know. If you just went up to the guy and he was like, go kill this thing for a rank, then I would just be like, oh, there's no story. But there is a story. I read a lot of it. It all sucked. You know. And I'm really glad to hear that it gets better in the DLCs, but the main story of the game before the DLCs sucked. It's awful. We did it! If you're gonna waste my time with cutscenes and dialogue, then I expect it to be good, you know? Especially from, you know, Square Enix. You know, at this point, I would have rather them had no story. Because like I said, then I could just say, oh, there's no story. So we got the level 60 ability. It literally just says improves the trick attack ability. Which is kind of bizarre to me. Like, instead of giving me a new, better ability, it's just, okay, now that one doesn't suck anymore. Like, instead of being useless now, it does something. Like, okay. Interesting. Let's give it a try. Now, it's supposed to... Here's the thing. I want to combine it with Viper. I gotta be behind the lane. Did I use it? I don't know what happened. I used it. Snake Boat uses trick attack. I did like 200 damage with it. And a normal sneak attack with no ability. Also did like 200. Yeah. So both of them without an ability did about 200. So it looks like it's maybe about the same as a sneak attack. Maybe not. Now the question is, can I use them both? Please don't attack me. So, let's see here. I'll just do this one. So what I probably want to do is something like... like that. Final Fantasy 16 will not be included in Fantathon, but I will be doing a separate Let's Play of it right when it comes out. That way we don't have to wait to play it. Well, my sneak attack Viper Bite did like 1200 damage earlier. So it could do even more. That's the thing though, my trusts don't stand behind the enemy. Because why would they? So I don't think this is really going to be valuable. I think instead of doing this, I need to just... Yeah. I think what we need to do... But this will still help. Because... now... while I'm waiting for sneak attack to come back, I have something I can do at least. I can go do trick attack. You know what I mean? So at least I have something else I can, like, do in the meantime while I'm waiting. Actually, I could just walk through the door. Alright, is there anything else? I don't think there's anything else we want to do. I think it's time. Yeah, see, that's frustrating for me because, like, everything starts at 0. It sucks. Like, at that point, you might as well just choose a different class. That's why the ninja thing sucks, because, like, I leveled up my ninja subclass, but my magic, like, my thief magic starts at 0, so it just does nothing. I'd have to spend, you know, a whole nother several weeks using the ninja magic for it to be useful. Which, that's an MMO thing. You know, that's the way it goes. When you make a new character, make a new class, or whatever, you know. But maybe it would have been nice if the subclasses, if the ability points, like, just went up a bit faster. Just for the subclass. If you're doing a brand new class, then, like, you know, but I guess that's how it works, because subclass is also a main class if you choose. So I guess, I mean, that's just an MMO thing. Like, that makes sense. But at least for the sake of this Let's Play, like, it just wasn't worth spending weeks making Ninja actually do ninja things, because, you know, at this point, we've already spent so much time on the Thief. We're going to fight the Shadowlord right now, yet. This could be it. This could be the finale. The time is now. I think this trust group is the one that I want. If I could try subbing Mila or something, or someone else, but I think this is what we want. I think we just want straight damage. Just get through the phase as quickly as possible, and then hopefully buff through. I think we got it in the bag. I got new weapons. I got everyone's up 5 levels. Oh, the other thing too is I could bring in the Black Mage and see if he actually does enough damage to get through the phase now that he's level 60. But for now, we'll just stick with this and see what happens. If this doesn't work, I'll bring in the Black Mage. Let's go. I'm so glad we're finishing on this fight, because it's actually pretty epic. I was kind of afraid the ending would be like, well, we did the last thing. We're done. I picked up the last item on a random spot. We win. It was actually pretty epic. Let's go! Trick attack does 179. Staying pretty healthy. I feel like our we're doing good damage, but I expected it to be even faster than this. But Now I'm about to drop the big whammy. See how much damage this does. Boom! 700 damage. And also, Semi dropped the Sidewinder. It did 764. We did 1,400 damage between the two of us just then. Holy cow, we're nuking him. He hasn't even done his thing yet. I was confused for a second. He did his thing. Okay, so now we're chilling. One damage. Let's frickin' go. I think I'll just chill. From what I heard, like, only physical hits actually give more of the enemies like TP. So I think using magic is okay, but I think I'll just chill. Also, hitting for 0 doesn't give me any TP, so I think hitting him for 0 doesn't give him any TP either, but just to be safe, I'll just stand back here. Elaine's only taken like 60 damage. I think he's been really nice to us this time, too. I mean, it might be just because we bursted him so fast, but I haven't seen him do any of his big AoE stuff. I think we got kind of lucky, too. It's all on you, Villain. You got it. This is Villain's story. Let the Blade of the Conqueror once again bring glory to the kingdom. How's it going, Genghis? I think we got this. I think it's in the bag. Waiting to see that beautiful shadowlord has taken some amount of damage. We go in for the kill. It might actually be worth it standing all the way back here then. This might be the play. So he doesn't use as many big moves. I mean, he's done nothing but just attack the lane, and he's kicked him like twice. Semi's ranged attack strikes true, pummeling the Shadowlord for 0 damage. Somebody paralyzed him. Should be any second now. Ebenezer, thank you for the resub. Appreciate you, man. That's right, cast that victory march. Because we're about the victory march. And yet, think of the gifted sub. Holy cow. Go, 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 go! Kill him! Kill him! Oh, Sidewinder. Oh my god, the timing on the Sidewinder. What a legend. We did it! he just poop. Just pop out of existence. But wait. This isn't even his final form! He's now the perfect shadowlord. Wait, I have to recast? Can I recast? No. That would be really nice if I could recast. Alright, so I don't think he does immunity here. He is hurting though. Jokim's kind of in a nice position here. Oh my god, we nuked him! Is he dead? What happened to his health bar? See you later. We did it. Oh, my eyes. What? What happened? What is happening? Okay. Oh look, Zyde's there too. No, it is not over yet. I told you, even death cannot stop my revenge. I will not fall. I will keep coming back until the fires of wrath consume me. Raugrim, stop. Listen to me. It is over. Raugrim? No, that is not my name. I am the Shadowlord. You are no such thing. Search your memories for your true self. You are Raugrim, the Galka's greatest swordsman. Cornelius here also. Hi. Want a hug? I am Raugrim. Ah! You remember? Yes, I do now. Raugrim, it is good to have you back. How has all this come to be? As you know, I was the tail keeper of the Galka, the keeper of our race's memories. But there was so much pain, so much anger. I let myself become trapped in a dark abyss of swirling rage and madness. People are capable of kindness beyond angels, yet we also commit sins that would put a demon to shame. We all stand precariously on the edge between darkness and light, and when we fall, we are greeted by only madness and chaos. And so I have fallen. There's no salvation for me. The Raugrim whom you once knew is gone forever. I expect no forgiveness for what I have done, but... Come on, this way, hurry! Oh, nice time to show up. Thanks, Lion. Just for letting us know we should run. My true self died 30 years ago. All that remains is an empty shell. Cornelia, finally we may meet again. And so the Shadowlord was defeated, thanks to Snakeboat's selfless courage and sacrifice. Through the clouds shines a symbol of newfound hope for the peoples of Enadiel. But none should forget that wherever there is light, there is always shadow. The legend goes on to say, from the darkest depths of the earth, the warriors of the Crystal Rose. So, I guess this is goodbye for now. I hear they've started flights to the Outlands. If you ever get your hands on an airship pass for Kazam, come see me in Norg sometime. I'll be seeing you, Snakeboat. Bye! So I wonder if she actually said that, like, in the original. Like, if they already knew they were gonna do the DLC. Because that was the DLC pass, I think. Although I didn't get an airship pass, I got the boat pass. I, too, feel that our paths may cross again. Until then, I wish you farewell. I don't know why our paths met this time, but okay. And now we're outside the castle. And I got a shadow fragment. I guess. Neat. Well, that's that, I guess. At least it was a semi-climactic end. Truly the pinnacle of storytelling. See, what had happened was... dankness. Here's what I'll say. Better than Kingdom Hearts. You know? Because Kingdom Hearts was all this complicated stuff, and then by the end it was just like dankness. But here, there was no... It was a much simpler way to get to just dankness. Right? And Joe's here to celebrate with us. We did it! It's still a bit awkward that you're the shortest class and I'm the tallest class. Got him. So anyways, yeah, I guess that's the end of Final Fantasy XI for us. Please rise for the Sandy Oreo National Anthem. I don't even know if I should give like a final thoughts because, you know, we've had plenty of time to talk about the game all the way through, but I guess I always give a final thought, so I should give a final thoughts. Okay, let's start with the positive. So, like, first of all, I enjoyed this game so much more than I thought I would. Like, so much more. I wouldn't say I was dreading playing 11. I was excited to give it a try. But I did have this thought of, like, I don't like MMOs. This is like as MMO as MMO gets. You know, I've played more modern MMOs, and I can't get into them. So this old MMO is just not gonna do it for me. Like, you know, I was just going in expecting to not enjoy it, which is never something that feels good. Like, oh boy, can't wait to play this game I'm not gonna like. And then on top of that, you know, I was worried about if it was even good for a Let's Play because of what it is. So I had these two like big problems going in. Was like, I don't feel like I'm gonna like it because it's an old style MMO, and I don't know how I'm really gonna enjoy it as a Let's Play for this Let's Play series, right? And I have to say, it definitely worked out. It exceeded my expectations on both fronts. I think that there was a lot about this game that I did enjoy. It gave me a huge appreciation for what old MMOs were and how they worked and why people liked them. And especially hearing other people's experiences with it really helped to give me more appreciation for MMOs in general. And then on top of that, I think it was a good Let's Play. I think it worked out perfect. It was 60 episodes. So like it was the perfect length of a normal Let's Play. I thought it would either be 1,000,000 episodes or like 10 episodes because I'd be sick of it. But it ended up being like a perfect length. I think it was entertaining all the way through. There were, you know, gripes about it just because it's an MMO and it doesn't feel as Let's Playable, but I had fun with it at least throughout the whole thing. So, I think it worked out as a good Let's Play, and especially just as an appreciation of this game and what it did for MMOs, what it did for the series. I am personally very glad that I stuck it out. Because if I had just played for the first, like, 2 weeks and then been like, I'm done, I wouldn't have had the same appreciation. And that's all what Final Fantathon is about, like, appreciating the whole series, its ups and its downs. So I'm glad we stuck it through because I have a much bigger appreciation for 11. And who knows how much longer this game's going to be around. In a couple of years, this game might be gone. So the fact that we were able to do this together, while it's still alive and while it's still pretty much what it used to be, granted it's a lot faster now, means a lot. I can look back on this in a couple of years and be like, we had a Final Fantasy XI experience together. So that means a lot to me. That means more to me than anything. It's just the fact that we got to appreciate the game together. Overall, like I said, I did have fun. Yeah, now it's a part of recorded history. Overall, I did have fun with it. I had more fun than I thought I would have. There were especially a couple parts where I really enjoyed the game. I think this last mission in particular, I enjoyed the most. Being able to actually understand what I needed to do to beat that fight and then go through and do it. I have my gripes, but a lot of my gripes I have with this game are just gripes with general MMOs. So I think I'll kind of skip over that because I think that's my own personal preference, you know? The slowness of the game, how long it takes to grind, the fast travel system, the mechanics of the fighting. All of that is more of just my personal opinion that I don't personally like. I don't think it's necessarily something wrong with the game. What I do want to say is I think this game, especially with the abilities and the mechanics of the fighting, is way too slow. I think even for when this game first came out, it's way too slow. Like, it might just be a Thief thing, but regardless, Thief is one of the main classes you can pick, so I'm going to base it on what I picked. And I picked Thief, and Thief had one good ability until level 60. And that's just unacceptable in my opinion. Like, even with the subclass, even with the game being quicker now, I just had nothing to do in the fights, ever. And even if I was playing with friends, and, you know, even if the whole point of the thief is to pull enemies and have ranged attacks and steal items, I still think this is a bad class. I still think that it would have been pretty boring and not as fun as the other classes, and I think that's just a balance issue with the thief. And like the fact that you're kind of just cycling through abilities that take no MP, and then the one ability that does take TP takes a bit too long to charge. Like, I just think everything is just a bit slower than it needs to be. And again, that's coming from Thief, but from what I heard from other people, I don't think the other classes are, like, vastly different. I don't think if I were to pick Warrior, I'd be swapping through 9 abilities constantly at level 15. It still feels like it would have taken a very long time to get going to where you're using multiple abilities. So I just think that that could have been a little bit better, but I think that my 2 biggest gripes with this game, even looking at it as an MMO, I think that the world is just a bit too empty. Even for an MMO, I think they could have made the world smaller and more populated and more interesting, instead of having just like, because this world is massive for PS2 standards. That's another thing in the positive column. I can't believe this game ran on PS2. I can't believe that. I wish I could go back in time and play this on PS2, because that blows me away. This world is massive. To think that this ran on a PS2 online, that just blows my mind. That has to be one of the biggest technological marvels that Square Enix ever pulled off. And that's saying a lot, because a lot of their games are technological marvels for the time they come out. But, wow. To make this world work in 2002 blows my mind. But having said that, I wish that it was a bit smaller and a bit more populated and had more interesting areas. There's just way too much walking through fields. Like, everything is just walking through fields. And I'm trying to put myself in the thought process of someone that played this when it started. You would have been walking through grass fields for at least 6 months. That's not even an exaggeration. People said that they didn't get to my rank for like a year. And halfway through my rank, I was still walking through the same grassy fields. I mean, it would have been months of grass fields. And that's just bad. I mean, that's just not fun. Like, there should have been more of an emphasis on, like, unique areas and unique enemies and cool things to do at the start of the game, instead of it all being at the end. And I don't like the excuse of, oh, it's an MMO, so everything's at the end. Like, no, you can make the game fun. It doesn't have to all be at the end. Just because it's an MMO, you know, I've played other MMOs where the starting missions are fun. It doesn't get an excuse just because it's an MMO. Like, I hate this argument that, oh, it's an MMO, it's allowed to be boring until you're level 99. Like, no. Like, no, that's just bad game design. It should be fun at the start and then fun at the end. It doesn't get a pass. It doesn't just get to be boring until level 99 because it's an MMO. Like, that's silly. That just means a lot of people aren't going to make it there. So I hate that argument. I hate that every time I say that, someone says, well, it's an MMO. It's all at the end. Like, no. It should be fun all the way through. And running through grass fields for 6 months, like, just isn't fun. And if you want proof of that, look how many people play the game now. It's a lot less, because a lot of people didn't make it there. A lot of people didn't make it to the post game, didn't make it to the end game. A lot of people I know didn't even buy it. So I mean, you know, yeah, I think it's fair to say that the beginning of this game isn't what it should be. But that leads me into my final point, the story. I've said it a million times, but the story in this game is really, really bad. And it shouldn't be this bad. It doesn't get a pass just because it's an MMO. If they were going to spend that much time writing that much dialogue and creating all these different characters, then it should have been good. If they weren't going to take the time to make it good, then it shouldn't have a story. Like, it just shouldn't have had a story. It should have been, I walk up to the guard and he says, here's your next mission, and you just do it. You know? So, I don't think it gets an excuse. It could have an excuse if it had no story. But it forced me to sit through cutscenes. It forced me to run through all this dialogue. It should be good. It should be worth my time. And it was not worth my time at all. At all. I read paragraphs and paragraphs of dialogue that all led to a moment where the king was just like, all right, go kill him. And none of it ended up being anything important. The guy that was the shadowlord, we found out that he was the shadowlord because of the flashbacks we saw when we touched the magicite. That's all it had to be. That was the whole story, was those cutscenes when I touched the magicite. Everything else was nonsense. So, like, at the very least, just remove all the rest of the story and just have those cutscenes happen when you touch the magicite. That would have been fine. But everything else was complete nonsense. Going back and forth, listening in on these conversations, and all of the conversations just led to, well, he wants to do that, but I want to do this. Grr. And that was it. And none of that ever went anywhere. All the stuff about our country being racist and that this country not liking that country and everything, none of it led to anything. And sure, it leads to stuff in the DLC, but again, that's not the point. The point is, people played this when it came out, and they needed to have something to hook them, and this did the opposite, you know? So, and again, this was called Final Fantasy XI. They had such a great opportunity to bring people who like in-depth, character-driven stories into MMO territory. This could have been the game that got so many Final Fantasy fans into MMOs. And instead, from what I've seen, from my personal experience, from my friends that I knew back in the day, and from you guys in the chat, it sounds like this is the game that pushed most Final Fantasy fans away from MMOs. So, in that way, I think this game was a horrible failure. Because I hear more people say this was the game that made them realize MMOs aren't for them, more than people that say this is the game that brought me into MMOs. And there are people that this is the game that made them love MMOs, but it seems like a very, very small minority versus the amount of people that, you know, either saw it and said I'll pass, or played it for 10 minutes and said this is $13 a month. Like, you know what I mean? And so it is just so unfortunate that they didn't take the opportunity to do what 14 did. And luckily they fixed that in 14, from what I've heard. They learned from their mistakes, and they made 14's story way more involved right away. But it's just such a shame that they didn't do it in this one. It's a shame that when you start off, you don't immediately meet that lion girl and have some kind of cool story interactions with her, and maybe, you know, go on adventures with her and learn about her past and have just more character-driven story. Or even just have more interesting stuff going on with the nations. But instead, it's all just awful. I mean, just bad writing. None of it was entertaining. None of it was fun. It was all just boring. I mean, really, it just was. And they had good writing. Obviously, it's Square Enix. They could have made it good. But they chose to not focus on the story and focus more on making a massive world work on PS2. Which is fair, but if they had spent a little bit more of their resources, instead of making such a massive world right off the bat, if they had made the world a bit smaller and focused more of that on making a really good story that really hooked people. Like, imagine if Final Fantasy XI was a fourth of this size, but had a Final Fantasy caliber story. Like Final Fantasy IX caliber story, but the game was only 30 hours long. And then they added to it. You know, they continued to add to it. Every time a new update, we got a new little piece of this really interesting story. That would have hooked people. That would have hooked me. If I had started playing this and there was some really interesting story, but it only kind of got off the ground at the start. And then they kept adding to it, updating and adding to it. That would have hooked me. Instead of trying to have this long story at launch and have it just be nothing, you know, so... And, you know, when it all comes down to it, yeah, if they had done the DLC first, if what they did on the DLC is where their mind was when the game was first made, I think we would have had an absolute classic. We would have had, I think people would still regard this as one of the best MMOs, one of the best games in the series. I think people really would have latched onto it if they had the mindset of the DLC, but when they first started. But instead, they just wanted to make it work, which, fair, because this is a technological marvel from what I've seen. So I think they just wanted to make sure it worked first, and they're like, we'll make the story good later. But I think that was a mistake. I think that took a lot of people out of it. So overall, it had its problems, but I can see why people love this game so much, and I can see why people still play it today. And I had more fun with it than I thought it would, and I appreciate it as a marvel of PS2 technology. I don't think my opinions have changed on the fact that this game is called Final Fantasy XI. Some people are asking, like, after you play it, do you think, you know, do you still kind of hate the fact that it's called Final Fantasy XI? I think I still do. I think after playing it, I think it's still... I don't get any feeling of Final Fantasy out of this game. None. No part of it's like, oh, this is Final Fantasy. It's just not. And even if they had just called it Final Fantasy Online, I would have been okay with it. But Final Fantasy XI, it's just not it. And it all, you know, a lot of it goes back to that core Final Fantasy that I always talk about, where it's a bunch of ragtag characters, all with their own backstories and personalities, all coming together to save the world. Now, you could say that if you beat the shadowlord with your friends, technically it's kind of like a bunch of different people from different backstories saving the world. Like, technically, especially since you're from different, you're probably from different nations. So in a way, if I invite Joe and someone else that's a different class and someone else that's a different nation, and we all go beat the shadowlord, it's kind of like you're playing an OG Final Fantasy, but it's not the same. You know, the characters haven't been fleshed out. I'm just random elf guy. Like, even my character, like, I'm still just, after all that, I am basically a slightly higher rank than I was when I started, and I'm supposed to be in Drano now, telling people how great elves are. Like, that's my job. Like, I that's all I ever became, was guy who goes to Drano and represents my country. And then the king randomly told me, go kill the shadowlord. And that's all that ever happened with my character. So, you know. But yeah. Overall, like I said, very, very happy we did this. Very appreciative of everyone that helped out throughout the way. Very appreciative of everyone that told their stories. Hold on. Very appreciative of everyone that shared their stories about 11. And just appreciative that I got to experience this. I didn't think I ever would. But the fact that it's still up and I can still experience it means a lot to me. It means a lot to, you know, my journey through Fantathon. It wouldn't have been the same if we didn't get to play 11. If we didn't get to play all of them, it wouldn't be the same. So I'm glad we got to do it. And that's going to be it for Let's Play Final Fantasy XI. So with that, thank you so much for watching the entire series, and we will see you in Final Fantasy XII. Peace.